Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Garblag Games. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. My name is Dan, the Garblag Troll. I have once again escaped from the very depths of Garblag Towers to bring you some Star Wars West End game content. Fantastic. First of all, some announcements. I would like to congratulate our Lord and Master and Overlord, Lord Garblag, for completing his stretch goals on the Kickstarter and completing his dodeca, which is fantastic news. Tomorrow, we have some Warhammer Fantasy roleplay with our sponsors over at Cubicle 7, and we've got 2 hardback books to be won there, so that's fantastic. What else have we got? So if you're watching us on Twitch, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to spread your Garblag groats on
very different thing.
on a reroll or two, either to make my life easier, to not kill players, honest, and or to make my life more difficult, which seems to be the way of things, and give my players a reroll. If you're watching us on YouTube, hello, go watch us over at Twitch. But while you're here on YouTube, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on what you think about the game. So without further ado, we will start on. First of all, a quick round of introductions, and then I'll do a quick summary of what we did last session. So we will begin with Rog.
Hi, I'm Roger, and I'm playing Lutz Niem, the Jedi starfighter pilot. Sullustan Jedi.
Colin?
Sure. I'm playing Jamadil Jul, the Duos starfighter pilot / tech. Call sign Sparks.
Eve?
Yeah, I'm playing Trulek called Meriksa, and the specialty includes things like gambling, hiding.
As you might have seen, we are missing Jim again tonight. We do hope he will be able to join us later on in the stream. If that happens, we might have to take a quick break as we kind of rearrange our screens a bit. So do bear with us on that. But alas, real-world commitments have taken him away from us. How dare they? But, you know, what are you going to do? That's fair enough. We still all have to pay our mortgages. Anyway, so back to it. When last we saw our players begin Star Wars music. Well, in your heads, of course, because we can't play it because of copyright reasons. When last we saw our players, they had just completed a combat takeoff from the decks of the Mon Calamari cruiser New Hope, which was under attack from a wave of TIE fighters launched from the Star Destroyer Retribution, which was bearing down on them at attack speed. Our X-Wing pilots engaged in a dogfight against the TIE fighters, or, you know, eyeballs. There was collisions, explosions, hair-raising maneuvers, combat spins, blaster fire, and some slight equipment malfunctions. But our players were victorious, defeated the first wave of TIE fighters before the next wave was able to engage them, and the Retribution bared down on the New Hope. So with this victory under their belt, the pilots of Ranger Squad make their way back to the New Hope, commit to a landing, land on the deck. One particular landing, slightly more dramatic than the rest, but nevertheless, everyone's home in one piece, and, you know, any landing you can walk away from is a good one, as they say. So, our players find themselves in the hangar bay. Again, a very sparse and empty hangar bay. Not a lot in there because of the kind of dilapidated, rundown state of the New Hope. As you came through the hangar, as you came through the hangar, atmospheric shields behind you, the doors to the hangar bay closed, locked down shut, and you feel that slight jolt in the decking, even through the vibrations of the decking into your own X-wings, as the ship bolts into hyperspace. Around you, though, there is it is sparse in the sense that we all remember Return of the Jedi, when Lando and Han Solo are having that talk off outside of the Millennium Falcon. When they're saying, "No, I mean it, take her," and around her you've got that kind of busy deck with the B wings and the A wings and the Y wings, and they're all there, and there's crew. It's not like that at all. It's your X-wings, nothing else. There's a couple of power generators, some umbilical fuel lines and power lines.
Have they not even got a crew out to make sure we're not on fire?
There's no crew has come out. No crew has come out to meet you.
Okay, well, I'm going to be jumping out my X-wing immediately and doing that kind of check on the rest of them, and seeing what there is for emergency. Just making sure I don't need emergency supplies, and trying to make sure that we're good.
Yeah,
Because we've
didn't
just
you land
come out-
without your landing gear?
I didn't, but I think
No, I did.
that was the Twi'lek.
Okay.
Pulsar did. Yeah.
That was me, yeah. One on the wild eye, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since we know
Maybe your call sign should be legs.
legs.
But yes, so I'm going to be checking up on everything and
Okay.
basically doing.
Please, can I have our first roll of the night? A Starfighter repair roll. That might be down in your character sheet as Starship Repair roll.
It's a Starfighter repair because.
Okay, it's
you
the
were
same scale, so it's the same thing.
Starfighter repair. Ooh, 6 on the wild die.
Ooh.
Ooh.
10, 21, 26, 28.
Okay. This is a roll for everyone's X-wings, not just your own.
Yep.
A lot of.
I kind of knew the state of my own, so I'm probably focusing on other people's because I've got less. I knew as I was coming in what the state of mine was, so it's like, I know I'm not on fire, but check no one else is on fire.
No one else is on fire. There has certainly been some scrapes. No one is, as I remember from last week, actually severely damaged. In the case of most of the ships, all you really need to do is power them down and almost do a sort of reboot.
My
think
hyperdrive is down.
Yeah. Pulsar's hyperdrive needs some more significant work.
Yeah, so because it was still working, it would take him ages to get to anywhere.
Yes.
But that's just because the navigation computer got overloaded. So again, a systems reboot of the hyperdrive would suffice. And to be honest with you, in fact, you can make that a lot better once you get your hands on an astromech droid, because once that was put in, the astromech droid could do it for you.
Right. Cool. So
you
we need
check
our
your-
astromech droids. Okay. Well, I'm going to be doing the circuit, checking up on all of them, running.
Yeah,
Almost on cue. The protocol droid by the name of Puzzles kind of wobbles in, bows politely. Masters.
Hello there.
Hello.
So if you haven't seen the comment from Pete,
No,
Colin,
I've done it.
you can check your audio.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
I've
good.
checked it. I've switched it over on that now. Not that you can tell, because of course you're just listening to me on the same mic.
Yeah,
regardless,
I
'cause
can hear you fine. Just
Zoom has
fine.
got the right mic. It's just Streamlabs that keeps forgetting what mic it should be listening to.
So Puzzles kind of wobbles in, says, "Masters, we get a rather spiffing hello from Deep Freeze," and he bows
Sorry,
again politely and says,
Who's Puzzle again? Sorry.
"Deep Freeze is Roger's character.
No, Puzzles is the
Puzzles is the droid. Sorry,
he's the protocol droid
Ah,
that
protocol
that
droid.
you
Okay.
that we
rebooted
fixed.
and activated in the first session."
Oh. Yes,
Um,
right. Yes.
Sirs, your presence is required in the briefing in the fighter control briefing room at 0800 ship time.
How?
What's the time now?
What do you mean,
It's,
like 5 minutes ago?
No, it's 0500, so you've got a couple
Okay.
of hours. 3 hours, in fact.
Okay. Well, I'm going to properly go over the ships. I mean,
Okay.
This is, although a lot of it is, as you say, the obvious stuff is okay. Nothing's on fire. The obvious damage is fixed by a restart. That's all great. Now I want to actually start going over them properly and making sure there isn't any less obvious damage, because I don't want something to unexpectedly fail as we launch again.
Yeah. Well, and since we're not in a stressful situation anymore, I'm gonna power the repulsors again and try to get the landing gear out this time.
That's not a problem at all. I won't make you roll for that. So you basically activate the X-Wing's repulsor lift engines, which come on, so that kind of creates a sort of bubble of thrust. You bring down the landing gears, gently set her softly on the deck, and then you're able to rest the engines and power down.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, I'll give Sparks a hand fixing the X-wings.
Okay.
Basically, he can diagnose what's wrong, and I'll do the less difficult bits to free up his time.
Fair enough.
So
I'm going to
it is-
ask Puzzles as well. I'd like to ask Puzzles where our astromech droids got to, because I'm assuming these things were shipped with astromech droids, because...
Masters, the astromech droids are actually shipped independently of the X-Wings, and they are currently in the Robotics Lab on Deck 12.
Could you ask someone to send them up? Or for them to be... given directions so they could send themselves up. They are...
As I understand it, sir, you'll need to go and sign for them.
Seriously?
It's not my place to say, sir.
If you want, I'll go take care of that.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah,
Cool.
I have nothing better to do.
Fine.
Okay, so Sparks gets to work on the hyperdrives. Yeah, it is pretty essential that you get the astromechs into their ports. So I know, guys, that I've asked you to come up with. You've come up with your character names. You've now come up with your
Call signs.
Your call signs. You came up with the name for your.
You're telling me we need to figure out some names for droids now.
It's almost as if you knew what I was thinking.
Yeah, you know the force and all that.
Okay.
So have a little think. You don't have to answer me now. They are all going to be R2 units, astromech droids.
Mine will be R4D6.
D6. And there'll be a D12 in there as well, just for
Just to
Garblag.
confuse everything.
One of the astromech droids could be called Garblag. Garblag. All right, brilliant. So, Deep Freeze and Pulsar, which, by the way, guys, we probably didn't mention that, is our Twi'lek's call sign name, will be making their way to the Robotics Lab. As you head your way down to the Robotics Lab, it is on your side of the ship, so there's no having to go through parts of the ship which are, not got any life support, or don't have any gravity, or
Don't
just
have a
you
ship.
open a door into exposed space.
Jen, something I want to do in hyperspace.
Absolutely. In fact, the robotics labs are quite close to the hangar bays on this side of the ship. But what it does do is take you past one of the other hangar bays, which is actually particularly busy. It seems to be a hub of activity where everyone else is. And there you can see the squad of Y-Wings. And all the flight crews are kind of dealing with them. Their ships are pretty banged up. Far more damaged than yours are from their previous fight. So all the flight deck crew are kind of handling them. There seems to be a lot of shouting from a particular... You've seen her before. It was the officer who was standing by the old fish, or the Moncal General. Old Fish is kind of the nickname that he seems to have on board the New Hope. The Moncal
Colonel.
General. Was he Colonel or General?
Captain. He's seen
Captain.
the ship.
Yes, he's captain.
He was captain of the ship. I think he was.
Well, it's kind of Rebel Alliance ranks. They've got generals in charge of starships and admirals in charge of armies. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, the captain. So it's either his first officer or maybe it's the CAG. You don't know. The CAG being Command of Air Group, which I suppose they now have because there's more than one fighter wing. So seems to be a lot of shouting going there. And as you guys pass, you get some nasty looks from the Y-wing pilots. A collection of various different aliens. There's a Gran in there and a Rhodian and a couple of others. And they give you some weird, some not nasty looks, but certainly some like
Physical.
Looking down at you at their respective noses kind of thing. If they had a nose,
those that have noses are looking down their noses at us.
Are looking down their noses at you. Anyway, you eventually make your way to the robotics lab. The robotics lab is certainly a stretch of the word lab, much in the same way as the rest of this, what can only be described as higgledy-piggledy operation. The robotics lab is in much the similar vein. There are bits of droids all over the place. There's a couple of junk piles in there. There are, in fact, 2 Imperial probe droids hanging from the ceiling in bits, being taken apart and put back together again. In amongst all this is a collection of astromech droids. And the robotics lab engineer, who basically seems to be the only person there, another Twi'lek by the name of Gutan, and you kind of get the feeling that he's a little bit lord of his own mountain kind of thing, hence why you have to sign for the paperwork. But he is very interested in talking to you about these dark ties, because he's heard about them, from the rest of the crew, and he has his 5 cents on it. And
we didn't fought any, right?
Sorry?
No, we haven't.
You haven't fought any yet, but the crew of the New Hope have been chased by them. The Y-Wings have been attacked by them. And, it's an Imperial secret project, so it's got to be taken down, because that's what you do. And
that's what they're there for, right?
That's what they're there for, yeah. He thinks that you might want to look at modifying the X-Wing some way to be able to use ion cannons, as there's none on an X-Wing. Because as it relies heavily on robotics, because they are basically space-born cyborgs in a sense, ion ion weapons might be more effective. And once you kind of get talking about that sort of thing, he's a lot more, happy to help. And he says, if you guys ever want to and need your astromechs fixed or whatever, or need any help, you let me know.
So he seems quite friendly towards us.
Yeah, eventually, once you kind of get talking about the subject matters that he's interested in, basically. So Sparks back on the flight deck.
Yep.
Eventually, so I'm just going to consult my notes for this little bit. Make sure I'm using the right name. A Rhodian comes onto the flight deck. And comes to say hello.
Okay, I'll stick my head out of. I'll get my head out of Pulsar's hyperdrive. For once, that is not a euphemism.
He's got all the trappings of an engineer. He's in a one-piece kind of boiler suit type thing. He's got a tool belt. He's got big kind of black boots. He's covered in grease and oil and all that sort of stuff. He's got a kind of purple Mohican, long purple Mohican, which comes down into a sort of ponytail. And he's got a pair of welding goggles sitting on his forehead. And he comes home and says,
Yeah.
hello?
Hello.
Are you an engineer?
I was.
My name's Tolakar.
Good to meet you.
I'm the who are you?
Jamdil Sparks.
Oh, okay.
He'll gesture towards the appropriate X-wing.
You're one of the X-wing pilots then?
Yeah, used to be a deckhand, so they spotted that I could fly in The Sims, so and now I'm ended up here. But
well, you might be quite handy. We don't have a deckhand. We don't have a flight. We don't have a chief flight engineer. I'm the chief engineer of the New Hope, so my job is capital ships. And I came down to ask if you're any good with that kind of tech, or is it yours more sort of starfighters?
My training's mostly on the smaller stuff. Can do droids, computer systems, but not got a lot of experience. I mean, I can help out when I'm needed, but
okay.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. But look, if you want to get any help, there is a flight crew, but they're over in the other hangar bay with the Y-wings.
Yeah, I guess as much. Those things look pretty mangled when they were coming past us.
They've got no one in charge of them at the moment, but because they are towards the engineer slant, if you have a problem with them, let me know and I'll come and square them away. And he sort of saunters off, leaving you in the sort of response of, I kind of get the feeling he just wanted to kind of get the sort of the bearing on you and the X-wings.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, it's at this point that Pulsar and Deep Freeze come back.
Cool.
With a small group of twittering and beeping, inquisitive R2 droids, which I'm not going to do the sound effects for.
Great. Yep. I'm not going to mount them all up at the moment because, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to load them into the fighters.
Can we understand the droids?
Only unless they're plugged into your X-wings.
Because I don't see anything about languages on my character sheet.
No, so yeah, if you have languages and you have languages droid, then yes, you do understand them. A language check is a knowledge check, so you could roll your knowledge to try and understand them. But
presumably we could run them through a pad
if they're plugged into the X-wing.
It'll come up on.
There's a little translator screen that comes up, or you've got a protocol droid standing in the corner.
Yep.
All right. Well, even though I can't understand my astromech, I will try and make pleasantries with it. I'm going to be reliant on this
Jedi.
on the little things.
Yeah, get to know your asteroid. you just see it now in the user manual. How to get to know your asteroid droid. Give it a name.
Like in the films when Luke is talking to R2, it's like say it's bleeping and they say, oh yeah, it's like he's having normal conversation with the droid. It's like what?
Yeah, R2 is like that. That wasn't what. What are you? I'm not.
It's quite possible that he's every time he's replying. No, that's not what I said. At some point, just give up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys you've got about an hour to kill.
Yep.
You plug in the astromech droid into Pulsar's X-wing, so it can boot and basically clear the Navi computer, so the hyperdrive will come back to life. That
Getting my iPad right back, it could be useful someday.
Is there anything else you guys want to do before reporting to the fight?
How are the repairs going?
Light speed?
Sorry?
Wasn't too much.
going?
There wasn't too much that really needed doing. It's mostly tuning, just making sure it's all top form before we're out again. But I'm mostly done with what I can, certainly with the tools and hands I've got. So I was going to head over to the other repair base, see if I could pitch in there a bit. And
I'll go with you. Let's see if we can give those guys a hand. They look like they were battered when we walked past.
yeah, seem to be batters coming in. I haven't seen what they're up now.
Okay, so
Let's go.
I'm
you
gonna
all
head
going?
for the mess.
You're going to head to the You're going to go and try and find the mess.
That sounds like a great plan. Grab us something, would you?
Sure.
Blue milk.
So we'll start with.
Not sure they have these, but
I keep on picking up this pen and clicking it. I'm so sorry. I'm going to put it over there. We'll start with Sparks and Deep Freeze as you make your way over to the other hangar bay. I say other hangar bay. This is a Mon Calamari cruiser. There's at least one big main hangar bay on both port and starboard sides, and then several others scattered.
The other
around
one
that.
that's actually in something resembling use.
Yeah, is where the Y-wings were. The YT, and you when you were smuggled on board, you landed on the other side of the ship.
Yeah.
And that's what seems to become apparent as you've all been walking through, and now Sparks also, is that the starboard side of the Starship seems to be a lot more operational and in a lot more one piece. In much more better condition than the port side.
Yeah.
always better than in two pieces.
There were less holes in that side of the ship.
Yeah.
And it basically looks like, because you are aware of a little bit of the history of the New Hope in that after its role as a armed diplomatic vessel during the Clone Wars, it ended up in a scrapyard. So it looks like the scrapyard started working from the port side, which is why the starboard side is a lot more operational.
Yeah.
And hence why there's less of it missing.
Yeah.
So, Sparks, Deep Freeze, you make your way onto this other hangar bay. What do you do? It's a bit buzz of activity. It's a lot more of it. So there are
people.
Flight control. There's a flight control deck, kind of window. A couple of stories up, looking down, you can see people in there. There are flight control crews running around.
Yeah, I'm just going to
There's
walk
these
in.
wirings.
I'm going to look for
Power
anyone who appears
supplies,
to be in
fuel.
charge.
Yeah, look for the foreman, I guess.
Deck officer. Look for
Yeah.
the deck officer.
Yeah.
You find a deck officer. I think I've got a name for that. Just bear with. A rather hard-bitten veteran. He must be in his late 40s. He's got a bionic arm. His bionic arm looks like you know the original RoboCop movie. So it's just kind of just juts out slightly above his shoulder and then all the way down. He's kind of got this black flak jacket, desert fatigues, t-shirt, a blaster hanging from his side.
He doesn't have legs.
Desert fatigued.
To fit in it. That's too bad.
Sorry?
I was expecting it to have like the same leg as Robocop to fit the blaster in.
No, just the robotic arm.
Too bad.
He's smoking on a big kind of cigar, which seems to be a recurring theme now I think about it in some of my Star Wars characters. He's puffing on it. But he doesn't seem to be an officer, but people are doing what he says.
Yeah. Cool. He's in charge. That'll do.
De facto officer.
Yeah. Sergeant in motion and all that.
Okay. And he sees you guys come up and he goes,
officer.
right, what do you kids want?
We're here to help.
All right. Well, I'm. Where am I? I'm Master Chief Lonus. This isn't my deck, but I'm the nearest thing to the deck officer you'll find around here. I'm predominantly chief of the boat. I'm sure if you ask, they'll need a hand with. And he's then interrupted as a Gran in a flight out uniform, flight suit like yours, except just green, not that kind of X-wing orange. And he kind of marches over and he goes, "No, they're not welcome here. We don't want them." Clear off.
Oh, no,
I thought
there's
you
no
could
need for
do with
that.
someone who knew their way how repairs work. I started working repairs on these things.
We've got enough deck hands here. You guys are junior officers, so let's say you're kind of like first lieutenants. His rank is kind of like he's got the insignia of a sort of squadron leader.
He outranks.
Yeah, so he's like,
Okay. No,
we don't want your type here. And having none of you fancy wannabe X-wing pilots on my deck. Thank you very much. You got your own deck.
As you say, sir.
And the Master Chief is like, "Don't worry about it, kids. I'll have a chat with him. But in the meantime,
I'll leave him to it then. I'm not going to pick an argument with a superior officer just because he's being.
But he's not your superior officer, because remember, these guys.
He's not
your Rebel Alliance. They're their own kind
He's
of.
not my
rebel
superior officer, but I'm not going to make any friends by picking an argument with him.
What's your take on it, Deep Freeze?
Well, this guy's clearly, he needs to see what we can do before I think he's going to trust us.
Yeah.
I'm not going to push it now. I think the timing's wrong. Let's go. Let's go join Pulsar in the mess.
Okay. So Pulsar,
basically,
and Wraith have gone. Yep, he's still here. Have gone up to the. Have gone to find the mess. There are many. There is a couple of messes.
There's a lot of messes in this ship.
Being small messes, big messes.
Being a former diplomatic vessel for for high-end dignitaries and diplomats and even some Jedi, this place had like a 5-star restaurant, but there's none of that at the moment because that's all kind of run down. So you're down. The best working mess is where the troop garrison used to be, and it's got that kind of stereotypical, it's got long
Stainless
metal
steel.
stainless steel tables as a kind of like a robot chef at a sort of buffet, and he's kind of laying
Like the
out
mess halls you
food.
see in Clone Wars, that kind
Absolutely, exactly like that. And there are various different crews, but they all seem to be in their little kind of groups. You've got the ship engineers, you've got the gunnery officers and the gunners, you've got the sensor guys and all sorts. But they all look. In fact, I'm gonna make you roll a. I'll go with investigation if you've got it.
Yep, I do. 60 plus 2, so...
As opposed to my 2D for that kind of...
Yeah, well, everything perception, I've got...
Exactly,
nice
exactly.
Okay, so there's a 1 on the wild die, since that's the
That's
start.
fine. Take away the heist.
Okay, the dice was 6, so that's gone. That's still... sorry, 5, 10, 13.
Okay, no, that's still good. So they look.
6, 5D. Oh, sorry,
They're-
this plus 1, so 14.
So
2, 14. Well, whatever.
it is obvious, even to the untrained eye, that they are tired and worn out. They've all got a rather haggard, withdrawn look. But to your keen eye, they've also kind of got that 50-yard stare. That they've seen combat. It's certainly affected them. A lot of them are kind of looking down into their bowl of slop or whatever, with rather distant stares and looks. There's and it's quiet. There's not that usual chatter and.
Do you reckon we'd be able to get our hands on some paint?
Why?
On what? Paint?
Kill markings.
You want to stick kill markers? Yeah. Fair play. So are you go and get some food? Yeah.
Yeah, food first. I'll be talking to.
Oh no, you're not there
to the
yet.
other.
No.
Sorry,
Yeah, I'll be talking
to
You're
Sparks
not,
on the
you're
way
not there
down.
yet, Rog.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It's Pulsar there first.
Maybe. I'm hoping we can get some parts and, tools and stuff, because what I packed in my X-Wing is not really enough to do the
Yeah.
kinds of work we're going to need to do if we
To
still
do in the future.
if we see heavy damage.
No. So, Pulsar, you get some food. You have a sit down with Wraith. And this kind of
Who isn't saying much for some reason.
he's tired. He's
Long day.
He got stuck in here because he
He
didn't
came
come
in
from the
through
same-
with the Y-wings, yeah.
He came through from the Y-wings, and not only did he come through from the Y-wings, but he also came from a rebel cell on the other side of the quadrant. So he's been sitting in a cockpit for 8 hours in hyperspace before he then made it to the Y-wings and then jumped into where you guys
Into
were.
combat.
So he's pretty knackered. So he's just kind of sitting there looking at a pot of, like a mug of calf as he kind of drinks it. Anyway, so Pulsar, a young ensign kind of comes up to you and goes, hey, are you one of those X-Wing pilots?
That would be me.
Oh wow, what is it true that we're joining the Rebel Alliance? He's kind of got this slight look of hope in his eyes.
Well, that's up to your officer. But that's the hope, yeah.
I mean, I heard that these X-Wings are real movers. Is it true that that you can outfly the Y-Wings?
I've not tried that recently, but I'm pretty sure I could pull that off.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's really amazing. Are you, Your Excellency, are you going to get these? Are you going to get these dark ties that have been on our backs, or are you going to destroy the retribution that's been chasing us forever? We've heard that these X-wings can do anything.
Well, they can do many things. Everything.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not, but.
Wow. Oh well.
Are you pirates as well?
Me? No. My name is Ensign Silas Tinto. I'm the communications officer on the bridge, or at least one of them. So if you're ever out there and you're comming New Hope Actual, aka the captain, it'll be me that you speak to first before I put them in through. Or if you hear orders, the orders will probably come from me first, from him, if you get my meaning.
Yeah. I know it works, yeah.
It's at this point that Sparks and Deep Freeze saunter in.
Yeah, it just
Food.
Raise my hand. Hey, just see, we're here. I'm here. Well, always raise.
I'm going to go
Give
grab
him a
some
casual
food
salute.
and then head over towards where Wraith and Pulsar are.
It's interesting. With that conversation, I've got that vibe, like the Hot Fuzz vibe. Like, have you tried doing that and that?
Yeah.
Is it true when you shoot a guy's in the head, it explodes?
That's actually what I was going with. So
Well done. You clearly managed to channel.
I was trying to avoid the accent.
Yeah. Have you ever jumped through a door and fire?
You've never seen Bad Boys 2. Anyway, sorry, moving on. Back on subject. So, yeah.
Grab food and join Pulsar.
Yeah. You've muted
I
yourself.
think you muted yourself, Dan.
Hello?
You've
There we go.
unplugged yourself, okay.
It's a thing on my... Anyway.
Right, that. I've got
Where was
similar.
it? Yeah, so you're all getting looks from the various different guys that come in and out.
Guessing I'm probably used to that, given that I've got a lightsaber at my belt.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you're sitting there, you all kind of get the feeling that
The Insane's gonna come back. Are you a Jedi? Are you a Jedi?
a lot of them here might not know what a Jedi is.
Yeah.
Not at least not the younger guys.
Yeah.
But you certainly you all get a sense of that. They look worn out. Eventually,
Are there any other soldiers that we met previously in here?
soldiers.
The
Yeah, do you
ones
remember
we
the ones
helped
that were
out.
defending the ship?
No, none of the. Those soldiers, looking at the different kind of groups, those soldiers weren't soldiers per se. They were.
Well, crew.
They were crew. They were Starship gunnery crew. Who, because again, all a little bit thin on the ground, seem to double up also as ship security. But they do. It's almost on cue that a group of they're commandos. They're all dressed in fatigues. They've got armor on. They've got webbing, pouches. They've all got these kind of long grey, the green camo coats they've got in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's like that, except they're leather and they're like grey city camo. One of them, clearly the guy in charge, kind of nods to his group, and they kind of go over into a corner, and then but he stops and comes over and says hello to, and kind of gives you guys a nod. He goes, gentlemen,
Ah, hello there. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, First Lieutenant. My name is Major. Major Maverick.
Really?
I know. Yes, I am going there.
But
Surely
this
he's
is
not
a-
saying that. That's Colin saying it to Dan.
I'm Major Maverick. I've got a bit of news for you. We've just received comms from the Rebel Alliance that your squadron leader has been pulled off route to the New Hope. So you guys are, I'm afraid, going to be commandless, or at least on a squadron level, for the foreseeable future until he's rerouted from wherever it is that they've had to send him. So you guys are going to have to decide amongst yourselves who's in charge. Okay.
Sure.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks for letting us know.
fun information.
So, well, good job out there, guys. Yeah.
Thanks, Major.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you very much.
Sounds like you had your hands full in here from what we've seen, what we heard.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
So-
I've seen the ship from the outside. Doesn't look good. Gonna probably say that.
Don't let
Not too loud though, bro.
don't let her looks fool you. This ship has been through a lot, but the fact that she's still flying and is still, battle capable to an extent, is a testament to Mon Calamari engineering and their durability. I reckon even in her current condition, she could probably go toe to toe with at least a smaller class of Star Destroyer like the Victory class.
Yeah,
As long as they're
anything to fight
attacking
the
us on,
Empire.
as long as they're attacking us on the correct side, of course. Anyway, right, you gents take care, yeah.
You too, Major.
All right. So he saunters
Yeah,
off.
thank you.
Right. So you have your drinks.
I'll let
In a traditional manner of professional combat piloting, combat pilot Wraith falls asleep where he's sitting, because you guys are actually trained to be able to take a cat nap whenever you can.
Yeah.
So it's not actually out of sorts. So he takes a quick closes his eyes for a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I'll let. I was going to let Wraith and Pulsar know, but I'll let Pulsar know that the Y-wing wing commander is honestly doesn't want us on the ship, but he doesn't get the choice in that, so he's going to take some winning over.
Yeah, expect some hostility
Yeah,
in the
well,
short term.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Nah.
No, there's always rivalry with X-wing crews.
There's rivalry, and I think this is going a little bit beyond that. But
I think they've been on their own for a while. I think
yeah.
I can't
the
blame
best
them.
thing we can do is let our flying do the talking.
Exactly. I was hoping to make some friends by pitching in on their ships and helping them get themselves ready for the next mission, but they wouldn't let us wouldn't tolerate us on the deck. So
Well, yeah, their squadron leader, they told us to do one.
They've been through a lot, so
yeah.
I
Well,
wouldn't force it.
yeah, hopefully we just kind of stay out of their way and prove ourselves in
Yeah.
flight.
Yeah, well, at least they know we are available if they need any help.
It's at this point that you basically got to start making your way to the fighter briefing room.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of
Fighter
nudge-
command.
Yeah, I'll nudge Wraith away.
yeah, exactly. I was about to say the same. So
He's like,
one of us will.
right, fight.
Come on, briefing.
You grab the legs, I'll grab the arms.
So you head over to fighter command, and if there was more than one if this was a fully armed and operational
Battle station.
calamari with many fighter wings, there would be several fighter commands. Running. You've got the bombers, the scouts, and all that sort of stuff, but at the moment, as it's just the 2 squads, it's just the one. And then you go into a room. It's very much like the briefing in Return of the Jedi. That kind of circular stepped area with the holographic display in the middle, that kind of white decking, some windows open to space, and you can see the star lines swirling around you as you fly through hyperspace. The wiring squad kind of shuffle in as well, and they kind of again give you some looks.
Frosty looks.
Frosty looks. I like it. Yes. You sit down.
Well, I don't care. We saved the asses.
You all kind of take a seat in your respective groups. Then the woman that you saw on the bridge and on the the flight deck kind of come in as well. She is accompanied by refer to notes.
Lonas?
No, he's on the bridge. The executive officer, who is also a Mon Calamari. So that's like the XO, second in command, as well.
Have you heard of him before?
Sorry?
Have we heard of him before?
No, you've not met or seen the XO before. The XO is also Mon Calamari. His skin has kind of got that sort of redishy brown hue with slightly mottled, darker skin in places. He seems to look a little similar in facial appearance, if such a thing you would be able to guess from, the fish-like appearance of a Mon Calamari, but he certainly seems to share some genetic heritage with the captain. Maybe it's the eyes, maybe they're the same color, you don't know. But he's very smart in his uniform, but again, also looks tired. But he takes a step back as he lets the commander of the air group, the CAG, make a briefing. She kind of types away at the holographic display, which kind of lights up, and that image of the the dark tie kind of appears in the middle. And she goes, right. As some of you may be aware, this is our current target. We know that somewhere within our operational area, a facility is currently being constructed around a pre-existing facility where they were building the first prototypes of this dark tie. We know that the technologies of this dark tie seem to stem from the Dark Trooper project, which was a phase of the latter days of the Clone Wars when clone veterans would be cyberdized with cybernetics so that they could keep their pool of veteran soldiers as the war raged on. Same here with these pilots. We believe that these ties have an organic element to them. The minds of experienced clone or veteran TIE fighter pilots. And she continues on, and then she's interrupted by a sudden jolt. Everyone take either a dex or strength roll.
Dex.
Or strength. It's not hard.
Yeah, go for dex.
10.
Yep, that'll do.
7.
Nope.
I have 2D in either.
Yeah, 7 as well.
Okay, so
Unless it's dodging.
no, it's kind of keeping your seat as the ship seems to go to red alert. All the red alert lights start blaring. The ship gets yanked out of hyperspace outside through the window. You can see the ship deaccelerate very quickly into normal space. But the the stars are blocked by giant chunks of meteorite. And the jolt basically threw everyone. Those of you who failed the roll are kind of knocked from your seats. And then there's another crash as you've all been on ships during combat, and basically that wasn't a laser blast. Something hit you as a massive.
We've come out in an asteroid field.
As a massive chunk of meteorite bounces off the hull. Everyone take dodge rolls this time.
What's dodge? Dex?
Yes.
Okay, that's gonna be pure Dex.
I have to make a dodge roll. I can't do a strength check again.
No, because now basically stuff is going to be falling down from the ceiling, and sparks flying and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
16.
Yep, that'll do.
10.
That's a no.
I've got 9 and 1 on the white die.
Oh dear. Okay, so take away the highest.
I've got 4.
Yeah, that's enough. So we've got a 16, a 4,
16,
and
a 10, and a 4.
Okay, the 10's going to do it. So
No, I'm good in a fighter, not
just
on the
Pulsar.
ground.
So
Just
Pulsar,
Pulsar is having a really bad day.
Pulsar,
Yeah.
you need to make a strength roll. Basically, this girder falls from the ceiling and smacks you in the shoulder.
I'm rolling 2D for that one.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm only rolling 2D as well, so don't roll low.
I got the 1 on the white die again
Oh, for fuck's sakes!
for a total of 6.
How many character points would I need to spend to get something like a force ability?
That's probably going to be a longer conversation,
Okay.
which we won't do in the middle of this. But we'll take it to a sidebar at the end. But it's
hoping to stop it falling on him.
right. No, not something you can do straight away. But there is something that we will be aiming for.
You've not given us any character points yet.
I haven't given you any character points
I've
yet.
got one.
Good point. You got one last week, didn't
Well,
you?
Yes,
we-
for
we-
all.
But everyone can have 3
5
character
to start,
points.
right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
start
we
with
started with
5.
5.
Everyone can have 3 character points from last week.
Cool.
And I spent 1, so that's 2
either
more.
we can talk about spending XP in the downtime between sessions, or we can do some
Yeah.
spending of XP at the beginning of next session.
Yeah.
So you are wounded, I'm afraid. So when I said don't roll low,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
you're
don't do that.
you're currently at -1D, and you think that your shoulder might be broken.
ow.
I'm going to jump to him. I've got first aid as a skill. I'm going to see what I can do.
So basically, a small fire. A small fire has erupted from one of the computers as sparks flew out of it. Some of the Y-wing squadron guys have kind of taken fire repressors, fire extinguishers to it. A few other people have been knocked around. Some of this stuff has fallen from the ceiling. Other people have been knocked about. The ship again then almost seems to bank very, very heavily to the right, and almost as if the kind of camera's panning out from the outside. The New Hope, this MC-80 Mon Calamari cruiser, seems to have taken a dive bomb into a large meteor cluster. Meteor is actually probably a generous term, in that what this meteor field seems to actually be several large moons have collided together, forming a smaller group of planetoids and larger rocks and meteor fields. And the the MC-80 cruiser has basically made a dive between two of these larger planetoids, and in the distance, the Retribution, turbo lasers firing, going after it. So everyone take another dodge roll before. Pulsar, you don't have to because you're already on the ground and you're not. I'm assuming you're not trying to do anything at this point.
Not really, no.
Okay, and then
Take care of my shoulder.
6.
Then Sparks, if you that'll be fine. So Sparks, do you want to take that first aid roll?
Yeah.
Frosty, what do you want to do? Oh, and Wraith has also hit the deck and banged his head against the flight control hologram display.
I'll help people up.
Okay, you can help Wraith up.
I'd immediately go for whoever is least responsive, because that's because first aid generally, the person who can't tell you how they're doing is probably the one you want to attend to first. But what
did you get?
25.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So that would probably
3 sixes. Nothing interesting on the wild die, but 3 sixes.
That would probably be Pulsar. So you're stabilised, so you're not going to lose anything else. And we're actually say that you basically you pop his shoulder back in.
Okay.
Because it was dislocated. He still like suffered some blood loss, but he should be fine. He might have a slight hairline fracture.
You're going to need an actual doctor to look at that soon. Well,
yeah.
As soon as is possible.
So the CAG and the XO seem to be shouting to the bridge in Mon Calamari. So if anyone wants to make a language roll to see what it is they're talking about,
I'm going to wait till somebody gives me orders.
Which is knowledge.
Knowledge. Well, I can try.
Can I give it a go on flat knowledge?
Yeah, you can give it a go on flat knowledge.
Ooh.
7.
No.
Oh, no, sorry. 8.
I got 12 in total.
7.
That's a no for. There's a no for the 8. The 12. So you hear the XO shout, "Granddad, are you mental doing this?" Or something to that effect in its Mon Calamari translation.
Are you downright crazy? Yeah.
The commander of the air group is also shouting down the comm and goes, "We can't take this anymore. We need to break this off now." The rest of the conversation is lost in between the sort of the fire extinguishers going off and the sparks of electricity from the ceiling and the screaming from other people in the room.
Yeah. Once I've done what I can for Pulse, I'll move to whoever is next. If someone else seems hurt, If anyone needs medical attention who isn't getting medical attention, I will do what I can with the tools I have, which is limited. But
okay, well, so next on your list would be Wraith.
Okay.
So make a first aid roll as you help Deep Freeze Deep Freeze has been able to get him into the recovery position, sort of stabilize him, but he'll need a
20.
Yeah, okay, so you bring him back around.
On your feet.
On your feet, pilot, smack.
Probably not. Don't think that's really his style. Really style, but
the squadron leader of the Y-wing squadron is now sort of having a back and forth between the CAG again as the New Hope banks again heavily, and almost if it wasn't for, you think maybe the artificial gravity isn't working great, because you can feel the movement through the hull.
Yeah.
Your stomachs twist and turn.
We're fighter pilots. This is going to upset us less than most people, I feel.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's on a larger scale. The New Hope seems to be doing a dive and then a twist, a sort of corkscrew dive, as it spins down and down and down deeper into a meteor storm between these two planetoids which have ricocheted off each other. The CAG shouts to you guys, "Over here now!"
Finish getting Wraith on his feet and moving in that direction, then follow him.
She points to the squadron leader, and she goes, "Stick to the plan. Launch your Y-wings. Give them cover. We need to find a new locale. You, Ranger Squad, get to your X-wings. Launch. We need to find a safe harbor before we do anything else. We cannot carry on with this continuous chasing from the Retribution. We have already been able to get some intelligence on several locations where we might be able to find a safe harbor port to dock while we can make temporary repairs and hide out from the Retribution. This was not part of the plan, but we just cannot carry on with these hit and runs and evasions all the time. You're going to need to split your squad. 2 of you take these coordinates. 2 of you take these coordinates. Do a combat launch from the flight deck. The Y-wings will cover you from any TIE fighters that might be bearing down on you. Clear the asteroid field. Get to your locations. The X-wings have got a longer hyperspace range and are faster. So that's why we need to get you guys out there as soon as possible. If either of you or one of you finds a safe harbor, report back via secure comms. Go now.
Okay,
Aye, aye.
Sparks, come with me. Pulsar, you and Wraith go to the other one.
Roger.
As we're kind of running to our X-wings, can I have a look at the 2 locations?
All you've got is a set of coordinates. One with additional footnote saying one says station, the other one says moon.
Okay. I'll take station, I guess.
Okay.
Fine.
Sure, we'll take station, they can take moon.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll kind of pass off the moon one to Pulsar as we're running.
cool.
Have a look on the data.
I'm gonna, if I can, I'm gonna message ahead to my droid to start warming the X-wings up,
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
and get into position because
Our
getting
forward
there.
Sounds
warmer
like a
up,
good
we're
idea.
launching.
Yeah. I've named mine R2N7 because
R2.
I do like Mass Effect.
Brilliant. Okay, so you get to your X-wings, get into your cockpits. The astromech droids are already.
You muted again.
Yeah, the astromech droids are already on board, ready to go. They've already started spinning up your engines.
Yeah.
Everyone make a piloting roll to commit to a combat takeoff off the flight deck.
Okay.
Let's do that. Okay, and I need to remember.
Starfighter piloting
I
plus.
am 1D down.
Yeah.
Days. The 6s continually explode on the wild die.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
It's 3 maneuverability, right?
10, 20, 25.
Only 7 dice
You're,
because of the injury.
yeah.
No, so you're.
Oh, 42, I forgot my +1.
Yeah.
Now we get back to what you guys are good at.
Yeah. So you were gonna say something?
I was, and I changed my mind.
Yeah. Now we can. The numbers we're getting on the like, dodge 10. Is that enough? Starfighter piloting defensive.
26.
25. That's kind of average.
Right, you guys. Repulsor lift engines kick in, landing gears come up, but because it's a combat launch, basically, if you were doing a normal takeoff from the deck,
We drift out, but
drift out, but you are almost hitting it full belt out of the hangar bay.
good thing there's no one
before
else in the hangar bay for us to flatten.
before the landing gears aren't even up. So the X-wings scream out of the hangar bay, landing gears come up, and basically in front of you is a meteor storm.
Awesome. Could we have a break for a couple
Yes,
minutes?
I think that's a perfect place. So let's stop for
Cool.
5 minutes, yeah?
Comment on the chat. Someone play Danger Zone in the background.
Good evening and welcome back, and thank you for joining us. Okay, so our heroes have just completed their combat takeoff from the flight deck of the New Hope. Before them is a giant meteor plane across space from what looks like several large moons colliding with each other. Now these moons have made kind of planetoid-sized rocks and a huge stone debris field. Now, the New Hope has taken a corkscrew dive into this to clear your way to get a clear hyperspace route out of the system. You're going to have to clear the asteroid field. What I want from you guys are consecutive rolls. So, you need to make 4 rolls of 25 or more. If you fail one, tell me, and we'll come back to you.
Is that where puzzle goes on the comms and start saying the odds of crossing an asteroid fields are?
So 4 rolls, average or better. Are there any re-rolls kicking around yet, Eve?
You've got
I
one,
think
but
you've
no
got
one else
one
does.
from the start because Police Forever said you're gonna need one. 'Cause
I
Oh,
usually
you've got
do.
a second one.
you've got 2 actually
You've got
now.
2.
Someone give some to Eve.
So,
Oh, I've just been given one.
I think
Roger
Eve's
got
on.
one as well.
I'm just thinking we're going to need some re-rolls to get through this, probably.
Probably we'll see.
don't forget your force
Yeah,
points
nah.
and your character points, guys.
Oh,
Yeah, everyone's got a
Right,
reroll
so first roll from
from
me.
the Foo. I think.
The target again?
Can you play the tower?
25, 4 times. If you fail any of them, let me know.
First one, straight 25 on the nose. Just managing to avoid a collision with something heavy there.
Oh, crap. I forgot to add in the X-Wing.
Oh, the flight control.
Yeah, I was like, God, this is hard. I only just got 26 on the first one, and then I've got an X-Wing.
Okay, I've actually got a ship as well.
So yeah, my previous role was just from my flat piloting. I wasn't
Yes,
a ship.
don't forget that essential maneuverability dice.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Right, so 26, 8. Yep.
The first one is 23 already. I'm gonna roll everything anyway.
Third one. 20.
All the D6! So many D6s!
Yeah, made the third roll.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, nice. And the last roll's a 32.
How many do we need to make?
4.
4.
Oh, one more.
Okay, Colin, it's the first one to complete your rolls. Please describe to me how your X-Wing dramatically gets through this asteroid field.
I think there were a lot of close calls. I got like a 25 and a 26 in there. So I'm weaving around trying to find space to go in the right direction. I'm probably getting a bit left behind by deep freeze before finally finding a decent space, a decent sort of clear path through at the end because my last roll was my best, and making a more direct route out towards the our jump point.
Speaking of deep freeze,
Courtesy of a reroll, because on one of them I rolled 5-1.
Ow.
But courtesy of one of the rerolls I was given.
what?
Yes, past convincing. 32, 35, 35, 45.
So, deep
Wait
freeze.
for me, yeah.
Deep freeze. How did your X-wing kind of get out of this asteroid field?
Rather cockily. Hugging asteroids, using their gravity to kind of fling myself forward. Using,
Nice.
you know the rocks where the asteroids that are floating around with holes in,
Yeah.
through the middle.
You've just been given another reroll if you need.
Smashing! Thank you very much. So basically using this as a practice for like high-speed pursuits. I was gunning it full throttle through, the gaps, closing the S-foils, reopening the S-foils, to get through smaller gaps.
Brilliant.
And then finding you had to wait for your wingman to get there before.
And then kind of emerging from the asteroid field and slowing down to wait.
Slowing down to wait for Sparks to catch
Right.
up.
And Polestar.
Yeah, so I rolled 23, 25, 21 with a 1 on the wild die, which I re-rolled for 30 and 25. So I've got 23, 25, 30, 25. So I've got one is below the 25 plus by 2.
So that was all successes, yeah?
No.
No, just one is 23.
Right, okay. Ooh. So, as you are flying through the meteor,
This one's but whatever.
meteor storm, you slightly misjudge. Before we do this, are you sure you've not got an extra plus that you haven't added on?
Not on the 23.
Or maybe you want to throw a character point at not crashing your X-wing.
Yeah, could do that.
Just
Let's see if I can do that. Yeah.
just. You rolled a 1, didn't you?
Don't worry, rolls on character points spent, that doesn't do anything like per se as a wild die, you just add the 1. So that's taking you up to 24.
Yeah, I'm still 24.
You want to spend another character point?
Well, at this point, let's do that. And 2.
It's enough.
Crikey! Pulsar is the last of the big spenders.
Just limping through.
Yeah, I'm basically back at 5 character points.
So please translate this into how does your X-wing fly through this meteor storm?
Yeah. So yeah, the start right out of the ship is quite of a mess. Like just as soon as I get out of the atmospheric shield, like there's already asteroid in my face, so already have to jumble around. Have try to dodge that, which is not going very well to start with. It's like every time I try to dodge, there's another thing in front of me, and I like give or take 2 or 3 like that, and started to get the hang of it, and finally managed to dance around all these asteroids and clear my way out.
Cool. Right. Okay. So please remind me which pairs you were going in.
So it's myself and Sparks and Pulsar and Wraith.
Right.
And
Okay.
Sparks and I are going to the base.
So, as you are basically coming out of that asteroid field, like bullets from a gun, ducking and weaving and pushing the engines to its limits. And let's not forget that the Y-Wing Squadron as well has been close, not keeping pace with you, because that's just impossible. Your fighters are a lot faster. They've been kind of spreading out in a almost sphere formation around your rears, to keep off any pursuing TIE fighters that might have been launched from the Retribution. There weren't any, because in the distance, as you guys come careering out of the meteor shower, you see a large chunk of meteorite hit the command deck of the Retribution, knocking out one of its shield domes on top of the Star Destroyer. And it's like you see sparks and lights flicker on it, but it's still operational.
It's still coming,
moving.
but
You get a comm.
Newton doesn't play favourites.
You get a comm from the New Hope, basically saying, "Continue with mission. The Retribution has been slowed, but hasn't been stopped. Find us a new home to make safe harbour for refits." But as you're going so fast, there's no time for that sort of slight pause and controlled moment where you program the ship's navigation computers and prepare for your trip to lightspeed to hyperspace.
Would I have had time, seeing as I had to wait for sparks?
Tell you what, for you, I will make this easier. So, astrogation rolls, please, from everyone. Now, if your astrogation skill is low, you can use your astromech's astrogation. The droids,
my astromech's astrogation.
Their astrogation is 5D. So
Yeah,
if
slightly
you're
better than mine.
so Rog, for you, because you've had a little time, it's only going to be 12 or more. Sorry?
Under what does astrogation comes into?
Mechanical.
Astrogation is a mechanical roll.
Yeah.
I believe one of you does have it on your list.
I do, but mine's only 4D plus 2.
It's 1 pip higher on the droid.
Enough. So yeah. Make those rolls. For Rog, 12 or more. For the rest of you, 15 or more.
19.
5D.
All right.
$15.
Fantastic.
My droid N7 is
20.
So, you retract your S-foils back into flight formation. The squad splits and kind of arcs away like a sort of rainbow pattern from each other. They corkscrew and twist away. They align their hyperdrive navigation computers, and both flights disappear into hyperspace.
Good luck, guys. May the force be with you.
Oh, I love it.
And with you.
Love it. Have a character point.
You need them.
Right.
I can use that, yeah. Definitely.
So, speaking of which, so you're all going to be in hyperspace for about an hour. Pulsar, you're no longer wounded, but you do still need to see a doctor because you're in pain.
Right, so I don't have the negative -1D.
No,
but...
so no more -1D.
Okay, but I have to see someone after that.
But you do need to see a doctor because if you leave it, it will get worse again. Right, so we'll split it up into Flight 1 and Flight 2. Flight 1 is going to the moon. Flight 2 is going to the station. So we'll start with Flight 1. Who was going to the moon again?
Pulsar and Wraith.
Pulsar and Wraith. So,
Wraith.
Pulsar, you come out of hyperspace. Before you is a cold, desolate, black moon. Make a sensors roll.
All right, sensors.
Which is mechanical.
Mechanical, so pure mechanical, I guess. So that's gonna be 3D. Ooh, 15.
Okay, very good. So,
Triple 5.
preliminary sensor sweeps of the planet indicate that it is now cold and dead, but at some point in its history had a lot of volcanic activity, leaving huge lava flumes underneath the surface. You bring
Fumes?
your so
Tunnels.
yeah, underground
Oh,
tunnels.
tunnels. Okay.
So you actually bring your X-wing down towards the planet, and you fly into a giant volcano crater, almost the size. This hole itself is like almost the size of London. So you're able to fly. It gets smaller as you go down, but it's still quite big. You switch the, how the Millennium Falcon goes down the tunnel and Empire Strikes Back, and the little lights come on.
Yeah, you've
Don't
got
worry,
the
not about to fly down a giant monster.
the flight lights.
Yeah, flight lights come on, and basically you find a series of huge underground sort of lava tunnels, cold lava flumes. You kind of make a piloting roll to land the X-wing. You're gonna have to get out and take a look around.
My whole pool of dice now. And I'm rolling a 1 on the wild die already. Great.
Oh,
So,
man.
You need a new wild die. I swear
You
that
do need
rolled
a
a
new
one
wild die,
so much.
yeah.
I start to believe so as well, yeah. So that's a total of 20.
Okay.
What do I do with the wild die? Do I...
No, keep your roll. Something interesting is going to happen, but I'm not going to tell you what
Okay.
it is because I'm that kind of guy. So you
But the
land.
disaster is not entirely stable.
You land your X-wing in this black
You've just been given another reroll, Eve.
cave. The cockpit
Oh.
glass, opens, and you've got your helmet and mask on, and you kind of step out. You got your flashlight and a little sensor pack, and you go exploring. In the meantime, we'll go to flight 2.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep the reroll for later, so we can see there's something interesting. I'm curious now.
Flight 2, you come out of hyperspace. Again, you've got a location. So it is a giant gas giant.
Okay.
Probably in the sense of, Jupiter size. This one has huge swirling blue mass to it. In orbit around it is, imagine if you got, those kind of like North Atlantic oil rigs.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you've got a North Atlantic oil rig in space, and then another one and another one, another one, but bigger and all attached with like.
So it looks like a gas mining platform.
Yeah.
Gas mining platform.
Well, sort of. There seems to be 2 huge giant tubes going down into the atmosphere of this.
What's the gas mining in
of the gas
in Star
giant?
Wars?
Savannah?
The estate, Tapana, yeah. The station looks abandoned,
Yes.
and the way the kind of the boxes of the rigs are kind of placed together in the sort of scaffolding framework and various different, lines running between them and walkways. You could almost park the New Hope in amongst the different parts of the space station, giving you a sort of orbital dry dock.
How stable does it look?
You're going to have to land to go and find out.
Can we scan it?
Make a census roll. Both of you.
Yes.
18.
Yeah.
More. Let's see. I've got 20. Bloody hell, 26. 27. Rolled up the wild die
27.
twice.
Ooh. Okay. So, Rog, with the 18, you kind of do a flyby with your X-wing. There appears to be no power to most of the station. One module appears to have very limited power on it. Sparks, your sweep comes up with the same thing, but you get a small cluster of life signs on board that unit as well.
Okay. What does that mean in terms of size? Are we talking like it could be it could be a nest of Minox, or would it have had to be something bigger to register?
It would have to be something bigger in the sense of humanoid size, but
Yeah.
you can't. You're not. It's not Star Trek.
Oh no, I can't tell. I can't tell too many
Scan.
details. I'm just sort of wanting to know
I
what
can
kind
tell
of.
from orbit what that is.
I just want to know what kind of error bars I have on this tech, rather than anything else. Okay, I'll relay that to Deep Freeze.
Okay. So what do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna fly around nearer the area where the life signs were and see if I can spot any ships or hangar bays with ships in.
There is a hangar bay. It appears to be powered. This bit appears to be powered down, but there are no ships.
So I'm flying around the area with the life signs. I can't see any active hangar bays.
No, you're gonna have to take up your visual scanning. Make a search roll, which is off perception.
Mark 1 eyeball.
21.
Fantastic. So you do a flyby. There's no power to the to the hangar proper, but there seems to be minimal life support. And just as you're flying by, even though the lights are off, you can see what looks like a almost like a little bit of a shanty town in the hangar bay.
Looks like signs of life in the hangar bay. Looks like they've built a town down there.
Town is perhaps an optimist. Village.
Right. A settlement.
There you go. Like it.
I'm going to swing round and have so I can see too, just more out of curiosity than anything else.
I'd guess smugglers. They're not likely to be nerf herding down there.
Probably.
Let's go take a look.
There's room enough for you both.
Can I kind of pan my X-wing across with the lights shining into the hangar bay?
Okay.
You know, like how they did. Have you seen The Mandalorian? Like when
Yeah,
they come into the ice
yeah.
cave.
I would like a piloting roll, please.
No.
It's
problem.
not hard.
I was going to say this is the ace. This is the person who's probably capable of flying. Who probably outfly a TIE fighter in a B-wing.
37.
Yep, you're fine.
Flying backwards.
So
I'm
with
not sure that
roll,
makes much of a difference in a B-wing.
You see, so there are people in amongst this shanty settlement, and it looks like, you know, various bits of scrap metal put together to make small buildings, and, you know, rags of material to make tents, and there's junk in there, and there are humanoid figures in there, and they too look all ragged and miserable in their lot, but they see the light and they seem to run away into the shadows. And at that point, we're going to move back over to Flight 1 and Pulsar, who has gotten out of his X-Wing and is kind of taking a look around. So you reckon this lava tube the New Hope could probably fly in through the mouth of that volcano into one of these lava flumes / tunnels, and could probably park there and be safe from any planetary bombardment.
And hard
Not
to
much of an
spot
escape.
as well.
Yeah, and not much of an escape route either, though.
It's not much of an escape route, but they'd have to be really working at it to find them. I mean,
Yeah.
passive sensors. If they don't know to look at that planet,
Yeah, if they don't know to look at it, it's a pretty good hiding place.
If they know we're here, that's problematic.
But the same thing goes for any rebel base. Because Hoth was on a nice planet, and
Yeah, but they had
Gavin
shields.
was hidden in some temples. So
They had shields and working ships.
yes.
yes.
But you,
And iron
well,
cannons.
you're beginning to have a look around, and there are some smaller caves and lava tubes where, like, adjacent to this main tunnel, where perhaps maybe people could set up a camp, or supply depot, or maybe drill to the surface so they can get out, have an observation
Yeah, that's an
platform or something.
interesting place to set up a temporary camp.
Make a sensors roll.
Sensor roll.
This is on mechanics.
Sorry, mechanic, yeah.
Yes.
Yep, 3D. Let's go for 3D. So I've got 5 to 1 on the white die,
Okay.
obviously.
Bear in mind that I already said something interesting was going to happen with your last roll. So
Yeah.
this census roll was to map.
It's getting more and more interesting now.
It's how many rancors are in that nest?
Well, let's get to that. So
at least a dozen families.
yeah, you're mapping the tunnels, and to borrow from another Garblag campaign, your sensor kind of goes beep 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 beep.
You've landed in a Gundark nest.
And something else is down here with you and is moving towards you.
Is that where and I go, oh crap.
It's at which point we'll move back to flight 2.
Okay, I'm gonna fly into the
The
hangar.
tension is palatable.
Palpable, yes.
Palpable.
Engine is purple. Wait, what?
Roger, you going in there by yourself? Is Sparks?
No, I'm coming into.
You go
I'll
with
follow
it.
me.
Sparks can if he wants.
The chat is already going, oh, xenomorphs.
Hey,
It was nice knowing you.
yeah, the people looked ragged. They didn't look imperial, which was my concern.
Yeah.
These X-wings land on the flight deck. Kind of dust and steam jet up from the decking. Your cockpit canopy's open. You've got your masks and helmets on, and I'm going to assume you kind of got a blaster or two drawn as you get out and look around. It's at which point that you can kind of see people looking out at you from the shadows.
This is where we wish we had the Twi'lek.
There are a variety of different aliens. There are humans, Twi'leks,
Well, it's more that
Rodians, Duros. But there's only about
Pulsar's our people person.
yeah, but there's only about half a dozen of them. But yeah, about 12 of them. So more than about a dozen. But they don't look right.
When you say they don't look right,
They all look, well,
like dirty, emaciated, or do they look like they're possessed or something?
I would describe them as savage. And they're all looking at you quite hungrily.
Hello. I will kind of call out.
One of them kind of hisses at you.
Who is in charge here?
It's
Oh, he's saying,
it's at which point that they burst out of their slums. All of them are wearing dirty red rags, salivating, eyes haunted with, darkness and shadow. They've all got a vicious look in their face. You think maybe one or two of them are swinging leg bones above their heads as they start running towards you towards the X-Wings. I'm going to move over.
So you were saying I was getting the interesting stuff. Wow. Wow.
We get zombies.
No, we get zombies. You get xenomorphs. To be fair,
yeah.
I think we're less fucked than you are.
We get,
Especially if that is a Gundark nest.
I don't
So
know what
actually-
Gundark, so I'll have to go.
I think we're going to leave it there, where Flight 1 is about to get attacked by space zombies, and Flight 2 might be overrun by God knows what.
Yeah, so that's cliffhangers on cliffhangers on cliffhangers.
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. I think that is an appropriate cliffhanger to leave it on. Please do join us next week, where we will see what has happened to our intrepid X-Wing squad, and hopefully we'll hear further of the deeds from Ranger Squadron. Thank you very much. I have been Dan, the Garblag Troll. Thank you to my lovely players for joining me tonight.
Thank you for
You were fantastic. And thank you all.
Indeed. Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Bye
Good night.
everybody.